Hey guys, we're going to be looking at my second run at creating a plasma tracer so that I don't need to create CNC models and everything. I used to have a 4x4 CNC table that I had built years ago, but I never enjoyed the process of getting the stuff into the computer. Plus, I couldn't justify having a 4x4 setup. It just took up way too much floor space. So my first run at CNC, and basically the idea is, you have your template or model, and then you just trace it. And that way it's done by hand. So the first setup I did was a pantograph, and this was extended out to here with a tool holder, and the cutting tool had to be exactly, the same distance as these two holes apart. So this was the tracer, and then the tool was here. And it was just, drilled holes with a bolt through it. And, I got decent repeatability on the outsides on the profile, but, the holes are unacceptable. This one, I cut the hole out last and the part shifted, but, in terms of those aren't acceptable holes to me. The outside profile was okay, and I think the bigger of a dimension meant the smaller dimension, the more critical everything is, so any play in the joints or anything is going to be more of a problem. If these had been pinned and bushed, I might have had better results, but ultimately I didn't want to mess around with the pantograph anymore, so I decided I'd try another take at it. And I bought one section of linear rail, and then I cut it in half. And so, come on. So I got, this is basically the setup of it. The wake overhang isn't really a problem. The tool holder, this is the tool holder from the pantograph, this is the tool holder that I used on the pantograph. And just for kind of a quick, so, there's a set screw over here. I got a star washer in there to give it friction between the two. This piece is tapped to accept thread just to lock it in there. So that gives me my angular adjustment. This gives me my vertical adjustment. This is just kind of set. That doesn't matter. Then it goes up to the plate on the clearing block, and then another one here. And that was hopefully there's enough light now. So this is just a Weldment Uggs angle. Well, it's not angle, I made it an angle. And the only real critique on this is I should have kept these very light tacks, so I didn't. This metal was just too thin to take that much heat, so I did get a slight, bowing, but nothing that's really a problem. You can hear, if I used a heavier rail, when I tightened it down, and these rails are really sensitive to, parallelism, so even just a little bit of a tweak, and you get that bearing sound, and it's not quite as smooth as it could be. And same thing to this. And it's pretty smooth, but I wanted it a little bit smoother. So basically it just kind of comes down. And then right now I have one where you just trace it by hand. But because there's a little bit of a jump, you can see how it's not as smooth as I wanted it to be. But I could also set this up where I cut out a template, and then, this would have a diameter instead of a point, and I would just push it physically against the template, which was secured, and trace around it. I'm sure that will give smoother parts, but then I have to start compensating my templates, to make up for the diameter of the stylus. So that's something I didn't want to do. But anyway, so here are the first couple cuts for it. And most pieces are acceptable for what they are. A little bit of a jump there, but they'll clean up nice. And these aren't anything. I just needed a shape that was continuously not straight lines. And I was able to, cut them out pretty close together without any problems. So all in all, for something that you can just throw, lean up against the side of a wall or something when you're not using it. Though also, the reason I have such a high, thing is several reasons. One, I wanted to keep the rail out of the junk of all the cuts and stuff. I didn't want anything getting on my rails and binding them up. The other part is it forms a nice divider so that I can just get by with wearing just safety glasses without having to wear a dark filter, because it's completely blocked from view. And that's probably the majority of the stuff I wanted to cover, I guess. And then, just to keep the cable out, I just put in just a little thing, and I made sure it has a wobble to it. So that way, there's play in it. That way nothing can bind him anyway. It'll just be smooth. But anyway, not a bad little contraption. I don't think I can cut those out by hand that nice. So I'll keep playing with it. Maybe there'll be some more innovations coming. I don't know. But it was a neat idea, and I think it'll work out and doesn't take up much floor space. So, all right, that's it. Thanks. Bye.